Okay, friction discs. So I've got two different types of friction discs. Both of these are dampened discs because we have dampening springs, dampening the shock load of the pressure plate and the flywheel grabbing together on the friction disc here and transferring that torque into the hub, which is then turning the input shaft. So these dampening springs dampen that shock load in between the two and smooth that out. Also smooth out firing impulses from the engine, make a nice smooth transition. So what the big difference is here is the material that's being used. This right here is, if you look, you can see it almost looks like rope. You might be able to see little bits of wire and stuff in it. And that's because this is an organic friction disc. So you have all organic compounds in there. So very smooth application. And you can see it's full facing. So I have friction material over the whole entire face. This one right here is a ceramic friction disc. So this is a man-made material. It has a much higher coefficient of friction than that of the organic. So you can see how, because it has such a higher coefficient of friction, I have these friction pads that are on here opposed to it being full facing. If I made this one full facing just like the organic, it would be way too aggressive and too harsh of an engagement, even though it's dampened. Okay, so that's the big difference between the two of them, what you're actually looking for between the two. So this is going to be a lot more aggressive. That's why we don't need nearly as much compound. And this one isn't, but it's going to be very, very smooth. Okay. What you're looking for in the inspection is the dampening springs. So if you look, the dampening springs are actually worn right into the plate here, and it's actually cracked it. And if you can see, these springs actually have grooves cut into them from the plate. So I'm just trying to turn it so you can see an angle. So you can see these grooves, and the springs, hear that? This makes a lot of noise. So this friction disc, you can see it moving. This will chatter like crazy and make tons of noise. Okay, this is the one thing you want to look for. So these springs you can see right here again are worn right into this plate. I've seen them where the springs, where you get coils actually broken off and they fall in between the flywheel and the friction disc, and they absolutely destroy it to the point where you can't even machine the flywheel anymore. So you really want to look for any of that. Heat markings, so where you'll see a lot of bluing around here where the metal is actually starting to turn blue. It kind of looks like bluish and purple. That's because it's gotten overloaded, probably because the friction disc has been slipping, so you haven't gotten your good static friction in the middle. You have too much sliding friction. Okay, so it's not even transfer of torque, and that's where you get a lot of overheating. And heat is the #1 killer of a friction disc, obviously. So we want to get that sliding friction, engaging, getting it moving to match the speeds of the flywheel and the input shaft. And then once it does that, we have static friction where we get an even transfer. So the exact same speed of the input shaft and the flywheel now are turning the same speed. And we don't have any more speed difference that's being soaked up and absorbed by the friction disc. So we want to get to that static friction as fast as possible. If it's too long, you can overheat. So if we have too much sliding friction, or we're trying to get up to match of those speeds, you can overheat the friction disc, and now you'll glaze these. So what glazing is where this becomes really, really shiny. And what you've done is you've superheated the surface and changed the coefficient of friction so it doesn't grab nearly as much, and it will tend to overheat an awful lot quicker. So that's quickly what you're going to look for on friction discs. As well, the thickness of them. So these are riveted onto the facing right here. Organic as well is riveted on. Once these are getting really close, you'll see sometimes where the material, the rivets are right exposed and they're actually grinding on the rivets. And so obviously that's going to be too thin as well. Proper driving techniques, you should easily be able to get a pretty long life out of the friction disc. But it all depends on the application. The city truck is not going to get nearly as much life as a long haul truck. Okay, a truck that's traveling mostly on the highway. Okay, so here we have part of our clutch assembly. This is our clutch cover. We've got our diaphragm spring inside of here. Okay, that's this spring, which is right inside of here. Okay, and the cover helps hold everything together. Right here, this is our pressure plate. So our pressure plate goes in and out of the clutch cover, and the diaphragm pushes on it. Okay, so these are the diaphragm fingers push on the pressure plate and allow it to come out and in of the cover. So this is what pushes on the friction disc. Okay, so the pressure plate contacts the friction disc, which then in turn starts to turn the input shaft. Now obviously, if we have our pressure plate that moves in and out of our cover, we need to have something attached that attaches the two of them together, because our cover bolts directly to our flywheel. Okay, so we have, if we're talking about our flow of torque, we go flywheel, then we have the cover. Well, then it has to go somewhere else before it gets to the pressure plate. So it goes to these, which are called drive straps. So that's this component right here. So the drive straps connect the cover to the pressure plate. So these move in and out. Now when these are in the relaxed position, they're actually straight. So you can see that this is curved right here, okay? And that's because there's nothing actually pushing this back in, because it's not bolted up. So typically you would have the friction disc in between here and the pressure plate and the flywheel, and it would push the cover back in, but or the pressure plate back into the cover. But it's fully released right now, and the diaphragm spring is pushing the pressure plate all the way out because there's no friction disc in there. So that's why the drive strap is curved. So the drive strap allows a connection between the cover and the pressure plate. Okay, here we have our bell housing. Okay, and here's a friction disc. This is obviously a rigid friction disc. Okay, here is our clutch cover, pressure plate, and diaphragm spring. So back here you can see the release bearing. This is the release bearing, pushes into those diaphragm springs, which are right on here. Okay, so how this works, we've got our input shaft right here. We have our input shaft sleeve, and our input shaft sleeve allows for the release bearing to slide back and forth evenly, so it gets straight. So see how it can't rock. If I try and rock this, move back and forth, so it guides it in and out into the diaphragm springs and keeps it centered, so even contact on it. Right here we have the shift fork. So the shift fork is what pushes the release bearing in, and then obviously you've got our input shaft. This piece right here that goes across the bell housing is called a cross shaft. So the cross shaft in this situation pushes the clutch fork, okay, and pushes the release bearing in and out. Okay, and this is again called a bell housing. Okay, the other half that this connects to on the engine is called a flywheel housing. Why? Because it houses the flywheel. Okay, so this mates into here. So see this groove that's right here. Okay, the flywheel housing has an indented section just like this. So this lip slides right into it. So you get a nice tight bond between the two of them. Okay, and then you put your bell housing bolts. Whenever you're bolting up a transmission to a flywheel housing, you never ever use your impact guns, okay? Because your impact gun has an awful lot of torque, and these bolts don't have that much torque. Even on like a twin countershaft Eaton transmission, the torque is only like around 80 foot-pounds on those bolts. So your half-inch gun will way over torque those, and most of the flywheel housings now are aluminum, so it's very easy to pull out the threads. The other thing is you want to make sure that every single bolt is started by hand before you start tightening up any of them, because this does allow a little bit of play side to side. So if you put in a couple bolts and tighten them up, you might not get the rest of the bolts in, and you'll have to just go and loosen them up again. Here we're going to be inspecting the input shaft. Okay, so there we go, now we can see this. So that groove right there, you'll be able to feel that with your fingernail, and that is what the friction disc will catch on. So see, this had a twin disc clutch on, that's why there's two areas. See the two areas right here and right here? That's where the hub of the friction disc sit on. You can see it right there and right there. That's the whole area that that moves on. So the hub of the friction disc doesn't touch that area right there. So if there's a bump there where it's worn, you put a new friction disc on, it will try and move and it can catch on that because it's brand new material, and now hang the clutch up. And again, here you can see the wear, that groove right there, this is from the pilot bearing. So the pilot bearing sits in the center of the flywheel, and guess what the pilot bearing does? It pilots the input shaft into the very center of the flywheel. Okay, so it pilots it, keeps it centered, so that the center of the crankshaft and the flywheel, which is rotating here, is the exact center alignment for the input shaft going into the transmission, and the friction disc spinning around on it. And it also helps support the input shaft at this end, because when you push down on the clutch and the friction disc pulls away from the flywheel, now that the friction discs are just sitting here flopping around, right? They're just spinning around on the input shaft, so it also helps support it, especially at that time.